Hello, I'm Denise.
And I'm Ali.
And together we are DNA. And we are here today to talk about poems.
Poems.
Poetry. Written language in rhymes and stuff.
Or however you fancy doing it.
However it comes out. So, what do you have in your thoughts about poems today, Ali?
I think you get like a bonus point if you watch enough of these to see how many times Denise does that. She's naughty like that. I think poetry is everywhere. If you choose to see it, we're all creating language, little stories, narratives of our day to day. And I learned poetry at school. I'm sure lots of people learnt poetry and to analyse and find the hidden meaning and all of that. I really enjoyed that personally. And what we do on a daily basis is use poetry in song. So words that all flow together to either portray an emotion, tell a story, or both. Sometimes the words, when we're talking about singing, sometimes the words for some people aren't like the most important thing. The melody, the backing,
the ambience.
Yeah, is like the root as to why they would sing or listen to songs. And for others, the words are like the, what does that
vehicle
mean? Yeah, the way in, how they connect. So my mum and dad are a perfect example of these two sides. Like my dad really listens to words and connects in that way first. My mum could have listened to a song forever and still not know what the words are. So I would think that maybe I have a bit of both of them, because I think both are of equally weighted importance.
They're both totally valid. You're right. I think for me, I write poems and I write songs, and the difference, a song will come out as a song often. It doesn't come out as, let's talk a wee bit about the process of, it doesn't come out as the lyrics and then I put music to it, and I know that happens, and that's also valid. There is no right or wrong. This is art. This is an art form, or art forms, and sometimes you've seen it. The lyrics are, the whole song is there. Other times it's when it comes to poems, it's a different part that writes, as opposed to expresses and sings and makes up the songs. It's a slightly different part of the process, or a slightly different process, depending on what state I'm in. And I don't mean what state I'm in. I mean what emotional state,
psychological state.
Yes, as we've said it before, if I start painting, then there's no words. So there's always an expression with me. Just depends on which kind of expression it's going to be. And like you, I started at school with poetry. Some of it I really liked and really was inspired by or really touched by. Some of it didn't touch me at all. And I think it's the same with books. Some I really got into, and some didn't move me at all. And that kind of made me a bit of a head scratch in my English class, because they were like, so you like that kind of thing then? No, I like that particular book, or I like that particular poem, or I like that particular song. And actually what I was saying was, if I resonate, if it connects with me, it won't be enough to read the whole collection, or that's the style that I'm into. There's each one is of a different era, it's of a different resonance, it's of a different age. So each one of these voices can connect with me, and some will leave me cold, and that's okay. So I think I negated my love of all of that for quite a long time because I couldn't quite fit into a category, and that meant that, I obviously didn't know what I was doing. So then I sang or spoke other people's songs or other people's poems for a long time. Helen B. Cruikshank, for example, great Scots writer, where we were up here at the local history place.
Yes.
Yes.
The folk museum.
The folk museum. Up she popped, and then I started reciting that poem to you as if it was yesterday. I would have learnt it when I was quite wee. Of course, in Scotland we have burns.
We do.
We have the war poets really touched me. Some of them touched me. Wilfred Owen, all of that kind of thing. When I could feel or connect with the person in some shape or form. So the writing process is different from each thing, and we'll kind of talk about this today because there's a poem coming out in a collection this week. So it seems like a good time to talk about the process of poetry and what it means, gathering that thread for us.
Just to be clear, a poem that Denise wrote.
Yes,
not
there's
just
lots of
any
poetry.
old poem. There's probably loads and loads of poems coming out in loads of collections this week. But there's one specific collection
which I'm a part of, a collaborative experience, and I'm tickled by it. Check it out, Soulful Poems, and I hadn't realised how important poems were to me, and writing poems was to me. It tends to get a real depth stuff and some fun stuff as well, and of course all the music, all the lyrics come from some sort of poem writing.
Yeah.
For sure.
What would make you sit down and write a poem?
Well, the first poem, we've been clearing the house for forever and a day, and I was gassed because I had forgotten all about it, but we came across in my school books a poem that they'd published in the end of year summary thing, and I had forgotten I'd even done it. So the very first reason I wrote a poem was because somebody said you've got to write a poem for the school thing, which I did, and when we ever find it, we can share. And then the next time I really started writing, I'd lost my voice. It was just after my dad died, and I had no way of expressing myself, and I, you know what I'm like, I go mad for it, in the best possible way. If I do a stint of expression in that way, then there's loads come out. There's a huge editing job for you to go, okay, can we just have a few, please? Or one. Hilarious that there's one coming out. It's just like, yeah, that's fine. There's that, because that's not usually how I write. I usually write on a subject, same as if I paint. I paint in a subject.
In clumps.
I paint and write and express in clumps. So that was I can't speak, and it's like I'll be damned if I can't express myself, and so I started to really write at that point. However, I know that my dad did write poetry. I have yet to come across any of it. Okay. However, I know that he also expressed himself in that way. My hunches, there's stories of. I'm not going to say it's a definite. I'm still looking.
Still searching
for proof. However, so I think it's sort of in the genes in that respect. And when I look back now at them, the ones that we've gathered, it's like, oh yeah, I know where I'm. Oh yeah, and of course they're all aligned with where and who we were at that time, who I was and where I was at that time. So it's a lovely little journal kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking in my head. It's like, I think it's not unusual for people to want to have a place to make sense of stuff in a writing form. So journaling is quite commonly used in mindfulness, meditation, self-development work. Journaling is quite often one of the on your list of things that you can do, and I know a lot of people who love to journal. It's not something, I'm not good at doing anything that involves a daily routine. Full stop. So it's not something that speaks to me, but there is something really nice about having a snapshot of moments. However, that is a huge part of me would do snapshots as actual like shots. So I like pictures because I can be brought back very quickly to a time, a sensation, a feeling.
I think that's absolutely right. You've journaled visually, and you hear you saying that, and that gives me all the joining up. And you're very good at it. You capture very real moments, for sure. So poems, lyrics. I feel you've all got them in you. I know that for a long period of time, after I'd done all the writing, secret writing, to create a song felt impossible. I mean, impossible block, nothing there, can't possibly. And actually it was about learning how to play. So poems, lyrics, somewhat different. Poems, I'm more likely to, it's a stream of consciousness in a way. Lyrics and singing, I had lost that stream of consciousness, and I think probably through shame and embarrassment and not wanting to play. You know, I don't want to play because I definitely get it wrong or not be very good at it.
You know the rules of that game.
I don't know the rules of the game, so I'm not playing.
Yep.
It's a sheepish face, and how far nearest the door can I stand at this moment? So that took quite a lot of time to come to the other side of that. And there was some really good non-judgmental influences around that, and it's about playing. So there's often that we will burst into some sort of song or some sort of play around language, some poetry kind of thing.
How none of these have made it to the album, but there's a daily song here and there.
There is a daily song here and there. I'm driving in the car with the dog, our dog in the back, then he's got his own songs as well, and that came from years and years of being around people who were like, that's okay to play like that, and just, oh, I never thought of that, oh, why did I never think of that? So it was very much learn on the go. It was very much learn the singing side of it, lyrics and singing side of it was very much learn in a play environment, and friends picking up. One in particular who I was playing piano and recording songs and still didn't realise I was singing and recording songs of my own that were okay for anybody else to hear. And she sat me down and she's like, this is good. So, is it? Is this it? Am I actually creating a song? How sheepish.
Here today.
How sheepish. So, yes, thanks, Shona. It takes some people coming up and saying, it did take that for me when it came to the singing. Well, with the poems, that was never... it was much more intuitive, and I'm freer with that, which is hilarious to me. I've only just come to that conclusion, as I now am a poet on Amazon, just so you know. It's something I've always done and never really worried about. Songs albums have that impact. Oh my God. But it's such a cathartic and a big journey. But poems just pop out more.
Quite often, like, the act of writing a song is a completely different set of muscles. Because I watched you do this. Oh, the joy of phones. But it used to be this.
Yes.
For me, writing would be, I need to write it
You
with
do.
an actual pen or pencil. But singing, still, like, writing a song, it involves getting it again past that place out into the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right.
So it's a completely
It
different
is.
set of muscles involved.
Very fair point, my love. It's totally different.
So there's a safety in because actually you're writing, and then you have a choice as to whether you let anyone read it.
Yes.
And even reading is generally a silent experience.
Yes.
Still doesn't involve getting sound over your vocal folds.
I had not made that connection. It makes total sense. I have always made that connection with painting and art.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's the next step.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. But you know what? If somebody listens to a poem or a song, and I might not have met them, they may be miles away, and they feed back that it's impacted them, I am so tickled.
Oh, she loves it.
I am so tickled. That, I mean, I remember, I don't know if I can tell a story. If not, you can edit me out. I remember in the early days, I was writing a lot. There was a lot going on. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still awake. And I would be like, Ali, 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 listen to this one. And you'd be like, oh my God, I'm much more boundaried and in control of it now. But I was just like, and then I would just watch for your reaction.
Which was very pressureful, because anyone who knows me knows that I like to sleep. So, yeah.
Oh, bless you.
It's a very sweet part of the process.
It
and
was of its time.
What a privilege, because you got from the point of letting it onto the page to you instantly wanted me to hear it.
Yes.
So
say this one, say this one, say this one, say this one. So yes, that was of its time, and then now I can wait till mornings, and I can. And it was that moment of getting that instantaneous right feedback, and how tickled I am at writing them often, especially that era. We'll share some of these at some other time. Little teaser there. But it's the same with music. Now I've gone all tongue-tied. It's the same with music and song. There are some things that I'm so tickled to when it comes together. I'm like, oh my God. And that's the joy in it for me of the creative process and creating it, and having somebody who's safe enough to share it with, and who enjoys it, and who can support in an unjudgmental way.
Trying my best.
But now it's a little bit more in flow, and we have a bit more rhythm about it, however.
It's fine. Like, creative processes are what they are, and they go through different shapes and forms.
They do.
Some are wake up.
I've had a
And
genius
some
moment.
are, I've done that.
Yeah.
Now I can go to sleep. And we can all enjoy it in the morning. Both are welcome. It's fine.
Oh gosh. Funny eras. And the intuition and the part of the creativity, there's a game in there for the person who said earlier, I don't like to play, I love playing. And this kind of got me past all of the things that I needed to, and therefore all the transformational processes I've been through are in these words of these different eras, which I have a hunch we will be sharing quite a bit of next year.
That's the plan.
Here's the plan. As we gather the thread in. So, but now that you are playing and with language and we do our songs and our lyrics and stuff, what's it like for you, having also been through that process? Because you're pretty good now.
It makes me giggle. I'm not as tickled as Denise is by words, but I do find it funny if I can start something and then end it with a rhyme. I'm just like, whoa, that's amazing. How did I do that?
And it's nice for me because now I get to do the same for you as you did for me in that respect, which is really sweet.
And there's something, writing music and writing words, writing lyrics, writing poems, any of the writing can come with a lot of, like, for me, it has come with a lot of pressure. Same sort of like, I don't play well with others, especially. Much better to play just on my own. But the fear of getting it wrong, the judgment, the what if it's not good enough? Blah,
All
blah, blah,
creative
all
crushers.
These,
creative crushers.
and actually, like you said, when you were talking about poetry, that you would be like, I like this one, doesn't mean I like all of that writer's stuff. I like this song, doesn't mean I like all of their songs. Is everything will speak to someone,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And even if it's only to yourself,
Yes.
like,
it's expressed.
isn't that enough? Like,
And the vibration is out there. You know, this is the serious end of language, poetry, writing, lyrics, songs, is that they resonate on, they frequency on into the mists of time. And people who have influenced me as a singer, as a writer, I have, you know, some have been dead before I was alive. Isn't that incredible? I find that incredible. Legends leaving these little pebbles, these little resonant, thinking Hansel and Gretel, breadcrumbs, for me to then somehow tap into, sit with and go, wow, I get you in this song, I get where you were in that song. Guess what? I'm there. 100 years on, 50 years on. How is that possible? Actually, we're not that dissimilar as we continue to keep evolving. And as we continue to keep evolving, my point is, well, we are still very much the same as our ancestors of all descriptions. And when I say ancestors, all descriptions of ancestors. So the thought that people can pick up something, read it, connect. Now, in the future, I'm getting information, knowledge, learning, fun to be understood from people who I've never met is magic to me. Legends, one and all.
yeah,
absolutely.
Leaving a legacy of parts of yourself, almost. And such power to read something or hear something and go, wow, I feel really understood by another person. How powerful that's been at times in my life.
Amazing.
Like, where sometimes that can be hard to find in the real world, like with people right next to you, but actually going, okay, I put my earphones in, or I open my book and I have a moment of just feeling like someone else understands who I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And life-saving, and self-developing, and so important. There's never been a time that it hasn't been important. And this time it is also extremely important for us to find people, for us to find people who we vibe with, who are on our vibration or would like to be on our vibration, who are on our vibration or would like to be on our vibration or would I get, that's where I would like to be, or I'm there. We've never needed it more, and of course we've always needed it. It's always been around.
Imagine a time before we were all so completely interconnected and always have the ability to read or see what's happening in the world, look at pictures of people. A time before where there was no telephone and actually reading was like an invitation into a world outside of your own.
Yes.
That is still like completely available for us. We're just really spoiled that we actually have loads of ways to escape or experience someone else's experience.
And there are people who don't, and people who are, big influences on me in the early years, especially Dolly Parton, creating and with her wealth books for kids, books for people to get their hands on, so that nobody goes without being able to understand that their worth is they are worthy of having written language around them. Again, looking at people who are influences, the early years, Dolly Parton, Leonard Cohen on repeat, sorry to the rest of my household. There was always ways into these other worlds. There was always these little magic portals into other worlds that I wasn't in, that people could reach out with language and with song. And yes, it's always been important. Can you imagine when there wasn't any of everything that is around us today?
Going back even before there were books, and even when there were books, not everybody could actually have books.
Yes.
And not everyone could read. So actually the power in storytelling and sitting around the fire, and the entertainment that came from moments of inspiration to just share something. How I, at a time where I felt completely like I couldn't create anything, would have loved a little nugget of that spontaneity in sharing. All of that, I must be honest, is challenging for me, and has been a process to learn ways to do it. And I do write things now, and I also do make up songs every day just for fun. Spontaneity.
Sometimes I get the phone out and do it.
And she's like, sing it again, and I'm like, I can't remember what I did.
Do it. I'm nice. I'm not sure if I am.
We can't just record everything we do all the time just in case.
I think you picked up a really important part. I think we need to call this poems, songs, lyrics, storytelling. It's and the whole bit, because the old stories round a fire. Before that we had Burns and people who wrote Scottish songs that held the language, the Gaels that held the language in song. Somehow these things survived, even not being written for everybody, and with Burns written down. It's the first time I saw my language that I could understand written down was in these kinds of books, and how important that is that they held on to parts of our heritage through the language, which I really loved. and also the fairy tales and the storytelling round the fire. These things hold little snapshots, like your images do, of history, and of timelines of threads for us to grow through, even though it's way before our time.
Yeah.
There's lots of the fairy tales, I think, that hold lots of the mysticism, magic, old old understandings that got lost along the way, that I think are being revisited now.
Yeah, there's...
Because they were put in that form.
Yeah, I mean, grim fairy tales, like, if you're faint of heart, don't read them thinking you're getting Cinderella or that. Actually, the original Cinderella is quite a gruesome story as well, because actually these fairy tales, these folk stories, all had a set of ethics, a message, a meaning. I don't want to say a moral, but kind of like, this is what you're to learn from this story. Yes, there's 3 little pigs that are wearing clothes, and there's this and there's that, but there is a message of what we can learn from these characters.
Some are outdated and have no business keeping going.
Yes.
And some hold.
Isn't that true of all
everything.
Writing and music, yes, and everything? Of
course.
we have to keep creating. That's why it's important that we do these bits now, because what we're sharing with the world is our point of view, and what is okay for us, and what we would want to be carried forward. We can't go back, we can't change the past, we can only go from now.
And then the people in the future will go, well, that needs an edit.
Editing. I'm the editor.
You are the editor.
It's a powerful job.
It's an important job.
Always needed.
Absolutely, and certainly for me.
I don't mean it like that. I just mean that as we go through time and space, our understanding shifts and changes.
It does.
And
that's okay. It's okay to be of this point of view of this particular time. We are a link, we've said it, in the chain.
We're a link in the chain.
We are a link in the chain. So I think that's the process, and I think that's why it's important, and it's a really unexpected, and yet I do not know why, thread that we're gathering here today, Gary, because certainly throughout all our experience together, language, poetry, lyrics have been running, sprinting at times, have been part of what we've been weaving. We used a lot of our language to write courses, to write, for me to write PhDs, to write language. It's a different use of self, all put another thread together. And perhaps in that they all informed each other, so that I was faster at writing these bits and I was faster at writing these bits. However, there was bits that didn't overlap. I had to undo, in the same way of being a classical singer, to undo that to do this, or you have to undo that to do that style of singing. It's the same with language, and I think we certainly have explored every kind of language. I know when I wrote the Masters in Voice, the first one, it was very casual, my writing. It's here somewhere. I will read it at some point in time maybe. About why are the tissues on the piano by the time I got to PhD, it was why are people dying. So these were big, huge, epic things to be writing. And as soon as that finished, bam, there was an album. Moving on, bam, that was that bit. So the writing never stopped. it never stopped. It just changed shape as to, well, what we're going to write now, what we're going to write now.
Sometimes your writing has to fit the audience that it's directed towards, and that's fine. Like, you maybe you will in the future, but at the moment, if you're going to write a PhD, you have to write it in a specific way. And
That's what I did then.
And all of those ways to communicate, it felt like it was worth the transition to different ways to write, because actually what's in the PhD was very important to be put out into the world. But maybe someone who likes to listen to our music wouldn't instantly be interested in reading the PhD, and that's fine.
Yeah. So it's finding another way to include people.
Yeah. And I think from what you were saying, or it sprung up in my head, is all of our experiences and perspectives are like a valid form of representing where we're at right now. Nothing is too mundane. And I know a lot of stuff, we're in a time where we video loads of stuff, and there's loads of lovely little moving snippets of memories, but also there's space and time to go, what is that story that your granny tells every time? My dad has some brilliant stories, and I've heard them a lot of times, and I don't mind that at all. I like they get embellished every time. They get more dramatic the next time. But those stories are like my part of my family history that I feel inspired from this talk to actually make note of, because all of those are legacy to leave to the next people. And they might just be like, I'm not interested in that at all, but who cares? In this moment, we get to go, these are the little nuggets of life that are joyful. And
it might not be that direct family that it's,
no,
but somebody might be that it's important to. Nice. I like the fact that you've got something new out of what we've talked about today. Lovely. I think the last thing I'm thinking about lyrics, poems, voice, is that I spent a long period of time, as did you, I think, singing other people's material. And I didn't have the language then to sing my thoughts. I didn't have the language, or I wasn't doing that bit then. However, I got my singing chops up. I communicated with people using, I not a word I'm very fond of, with the vehicle of other people's songs, people who I was already aligned with, and at times I didn't even know it at the time. History is a wonderful thing, but actually I was more aligned with you then, or that song was more aligned with me then than even I knew. So for all of the songwriters that let that happen, and all the people who listened to that era of, and we sing covers, and that's a different way to resonate with the person who's written it and with an audience. That's very valid. Yeah, you do it very beautifully.
Thanks. It's really one of my favourite things to do. Plenty of people, musicians, singers, songwriters out there, in periods of time in my life where I've thought, this could actually be me. This could be me. This song is about me.
Yes, exactly.
So in that moment, I my ego doesn't get in the way. It just goes, this song is for you to sing, because this song is so what you want to say just now. Just sing a cover. It's a beautiful thing. I'm okay with that every day. Actually, I might go and do one just now.
Okay, we better go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to us as we talk about. We started poems, we went on to song lyrics, singing, fairy tales, stories, all a really great vibration, and how important legacy-wise and how much fun it can be if we can get over ourselves, which we did. High five.
And sometimes you need to get over yourself again. Don't worry.
This is very true. This is very true. Oh, this is very true.
Let's not get started on that. But maybe another time we will read you some of our favourite poems by us or other people. And or if you want to connect with us, please do check out our website, noblehouse.scot. You can connect with us on Facebook, Noble House Scot. Please do subscribe, download, share via YouTube, Noble House Scot, and also on all of the streaming platforms.
And we extra mentioned today for Soulful Poems. The poem in it is called
Deep Within.
Thank you.
By Denise Borland. And it's out on Friday.
If you're watching this in months to come, it's...
Okay, sorry. But it'll be out by the time you're listening to this, probably. So just have a wee Google.
Yeah, we'll see. Yes. It's out at the end. Oh, yeah. I don't know what the date is. Start again. And Soulful Poems. Check it out. It's edition 3. And Denise Borland, author on Amazon. Tickled again. See, tickles me. Go well, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Denise. Bye.